Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting episode. Story number 1. Am I the a-hole for not making my daughter-in-law coffee and telling her that I'm not a barista? My son and daughter-in-law Emily are staying in our home probably for the next month due to water damage in their home. The company's fixing the damage, but the flooring was damaged, so it's not very livable at the moment. They have only been here less than a week and I'm having an issue. I work nights and I come back home around 6:30 in the morning and go to bed. My husband is usually up, so I make him a coffee or breakfast before I turn in. It's just something that I like to do, more quality time before he heads to work. I asked my son and Emily if they would also like coffee or breakfast before they go to work. They said no to food, but they said yes to coffee. That was easy, I just made 2 extra cups. I asked them to tell me if they wanted me to change how to make their coffee. I thought they would just tell me like use this cream or if they had a preference on blend. Emily texted me last night and said that she left instructions for the coffee. This morning I came home to a very detailed instruction on how to make a very complex coffee. It was like a Starbucks drink. She wanted foamed milk on top, different syrups in it, and a specific coffee bean, ground fresh. And also a different brewing method. In brackets, we have a drip coffee machine. Most of the stuff was on the counter. That's so unbelievably ridiculous. She wakes up in the morning like, where's my frappuccino? I can't believe you got my order wrong. Oh wait, you're not a coffee shop? Yeah, I decided that I wasn't going to do that, and I just made the normal coffee. Emily wasn't happy and we got into an argument before she went to work. I find that so hilarious. Because what the hell was she arguing to you about? Like, Emily doesn't have a leg to stand on in this argument. Yeah, well, I know I'm being ridiculous and super entitled, but I can't believe you didn't make the very complex coffee for me before I got up in the morning. Like, what did she even say in the argument? I basically told her that I'm not a Starbucks barista and I'm not doing all that. She told me that I shouldn't have offered in the first place if I wouldn't make the coffee to her liking. We left on a sour note. I've been getting texts from my son about not being hospitable, so I'm having trouble sleeping at the moment. Should I just make the coffee? No, definitely don't give in, OP. The top comment says, if your son's doubling down like that, it sounds like it's time for him and his entitled wife to seek new accommodations. Yeah, oh, you're not being hospitable. Come on. The second top comment says, not the a-hole, I can't even imagine being so entitled. You're making her coffee. You're just not devoting a ton of extra time to make her some sort of fancy drink. If it's that important to her, she should get up earlier and do it herself. I've been getting texts from my son about not being hospitable. Or maybe your son can get up earlier to roleplay as a barista for his spoilt wife. Yeah, 100%. Like OP's son saying that OP's not being hospitable. Hey dude, how about you do it if it's such a big deal? It's so funny, but also so irritating that they feel like they're in the right. Like, where is this audacity coming from? The comment below that says, what the f***? If somebody asks you how you like your coffee, your options are milk or sugar or no sugar or strong or weak, and maybe can I have a big cup? And if the person making your coffee just finished a night shift, and they're also putting you up for free, not the a-hole, but they are so much. Yeah, I don't understand how they feel like they're in the right. And the fact that Emily got into an argument with OP about not making the coffee, even though OP was still making Emily a coffee. It just wasn't the Starbucks drink that she wanted. She told me that I shouldn't have offered in the first place if I wouldn't make the coffee to her liking. No, it's not OP's fault for offering. To blame OP for that is ridiculous. Like, well, if you weren't going to make me a super complicated drink, then you shouldn't have offered. No, why did you expect that, Emily? And also, what does the son expect it? And what did they say? They had like syrups and stuff? Very detailed instructions on how to make a complex coffee. She wanted foamed milk on top and different syrups and a specific coffee bean that was ground fresh. And also a different brewing method than OP had. That's amazing. Amazingly frustrating. Okay, post number 2. Boyfriend mad at me because he opened up relationship and got no dates. Am I the a-hole for how I responded? Me and my boyfriend, both 37, have been dating for just over 3 years. Prior to this, I was single for 8 years. Overall, it's been a healthy relationship. We're both independent with our jobs and living situations. I do love spending time with him. I don't really have any complaints. However, something that startled me was back about 6 months ago. Him saying that he wanted to open the relationship up, meaning going on dates and sleeping with other women. I've never been in a dynamic like this, so I naturally had a lot of questions. He told me that I could also go on dates and sleep with other men. I honestly was a little skeptical at first, but after doing some research and having time to think, I agreed. He had told me that if at any point I wasn't comfortable, we could stop and close the relationship up again. One of the rules was that we don't discuss with each other what we're doing or who we're going on dates with. I signed up to a dating app and within a few days I had 500 plus likes and it's been pretty steady since. So I started matching with people, texting and arranging dates. On average, I go on 1 or 2 dates a month. There are also some people in similar dynamics of open relationships that I'm going on dates with and sleeping with regularly. I quite like the fact that everything's non-committal, so even though I was skeptical at first, I am enjoying the open relationship. As decided from before, I hadn't told my boyfriend about any of this. I was at my boyfriend's house the other day and my phone was on the kitchen counter. He saw my notifications and then proceeded to go through my phone and read messages, including going through the dating app and whatnot. To say that he was angry was an understatement. Turns out that he opened the relationship up to take out on a date a younger colleague at his workplace who misread his idea of a date as just a work lunch. He then openly told me that he wanted to see if it would work with her so he could ultimately leave me for her. However, she didn't want him and it seems like nobody else did either. In the last 6 months, he'd had a few rough dates, but no one additional to sleep with. I feel somewhat embarrassed for him. He demanded that we instantly close the relationship up, and I told him that maybe we should just end things, or at least take a break. He was outraged and called me names. But he was the one who wanted this dynamic, so what's the problem? I left and as I walked home, I contemplated fully breaking it off with him. He's been blowing up my phone and I'm not quite sure what to say. Am I the a-hole? Wow. The top comment. You should join the rest of the population in not dating him as well. OP responded, laughing my ass off. The comment under that says, dude's like a monkey swinging between vines. He won't let go of one until he's got a firm grip on the next. Not the a-hole, dump him the way that he'd dump you in a heartbeat. Yeah. The comment below that says he admitted that he was stringing you along to see if this younger woman wanted him. If she had wanted him, he would have broken up with you for her. And you're asking if you're the a-hole. Lady, you a moron if you stay. Yeah, run in the opposite direction, OP. Story number 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my son that I know he's gay? I, 62 male, have 2 kids, one 24 male and another 26 female. My wife unfortunately passed away 10 years ago and brought most of the warmth and heart to the family. I've worked on myself and I've tried to be a more nurturing presence for my kids since she passed away, but it's not something that comes naturally to me as I had a very traditional and pretty severe upbringing. This brings me to my current situation. I recently found out through a friend at my church that my son is romantically involved with another man. At first I was just surprised, but after I digested the news I was concerned that he clearly didn't feel able to share this important part of his life with me. We live in a more conservative part of the US and I am an active churchgoer, and we'd never really discussed sexuality as a family. As such, I was concerned that he thought that I would disown him or something, when in reality I just love him and I want him to find the happiness that I had with his mother, whatever form that takes. In the end, I decided that it'd be best to address it directly with him, so that he knew that I loved and supported him and he didn't have to worry about telling me. I invited him over for a beer and I told him what I knew, and I expressed as best I could that it wasn't something that he needed to hide from me. He's very much like me and not too great at emoting, but after his initial shock, he hugged me and told me that he appreciated it. I felt like the conversation went well, and I was closer to him. When my daughter found out what happened, however, she told me that I'd made a big mistake. She said that I ambushed him, and worse, I still robbed him of the opportunity to come out to me in his own time, which she told me is often important to gay people. I really didn't get the impression that my son felt that way about our conversation, and she didn't hear from him that he feels that way, but she says that it's obvious that he'd be upset. So now I'm wondering if I've been an a-hole telling him that I knew, and if so, what should I do next? I've been thinking of checking in with him, but I don't want to inadvertently say the wrong thing and damage my relationship with him even more than I already may have done. I cannot lose another person that I love, and I don't want to hurt my son, who went through so much already with his mum's passing. Replies from all are welcome, but especially gay folks who might know what my son's going through. God bless. The top comment says, I don't think you have anything to worry about, but if it does put your mind to ease, you could text him something along the lines of, I'm sorry if our conversation put you on the spot or made you feel uncomfortable, but I love you and I just wanted you to know that. I'm so proud of the man that you've become, and I know your mother would be too. then leave the ball in his court. The second top comment says the only opinion that matters here is your son's. This comment says gay here, not the a-hole. Robbing someone of coming out? That's like robbing me of being drunk driver hit with a car. You didn't rob anything. You did a great thing. The comment under that says gay guy here, not the a-hole at all. More dads should be like you. And the one under that says, I think you handled it well and maybe took the pressure off him. If he's speaking to you and you're on good terms, I wouldn't worry about the what ifs at this point. What's done is done. Yeah, not the a-hole OP, and that's definitely the consensus. Story number 4, am I the a-hole for walking out of a date? I met a guy online and we met up in person yesterday. We decided to go out for eat, and while we're waiting for the food, he said that I'm bigger than what he usually prefers. And at that moment, I'm thinking, if I'm not your preference, why did you entertain a date with me? My face fell and he said, I didn't mean anything by it. I think you're pretty. We kept talking, but the vibes were already off. He asked me what I like to do, and I told him that art is my passion, that I love to draw and paint, and that I hope to be lucky enough to exhibit work in prestigious galleries in the future. To that, he responded, don't you think it's wiser to focus on a more practical line of work? Art's cool and everything, but most people in it don't go far. At least not until after they die. To which I reply, society devaluing artists is why the world is quite literally losing colour, and why everything's grey and beige. Then, as the conversation progressed, he asked if I'd like a family in the future. I say that I don't mind getting married if I find a decent person, but I don't want kids. He said, why wouldn't you want kids? I think it's a red flag when a woman doesn't like kids. At that point, I said, you know what, we're not compatible. Then I asked for the check and a to-go plate, and I paid for my food, and I walked out. When I got home, I got a text from him saying, I'm sorry if I offended you. Was it the weight comment? I didn't think you'd be so sensitive. Wow, dude. I blocked him, but a little voice in my head is making me wonder if I am in fact being too sensitive. Am I the a-hole? Definitely not. You did the right thing by walking out, OP, 100%. The top comment says, hell no, that guy sounds like a real a-hole. Good for you for walking out, yeah. The second top comment says, first date is like an audition. So theoretically, you were seeing him at his absolute best, not the a-hole. Yeah, that's such a good point. If he's already so comfortable acting like this on the first date, can you imagine the other stuff that he'd say? No, you're not the a-hole, OP. You did the right thing. Don't second guess yourself. Story number 5. Am I the a-hole for telling my friends to get I, 29 female, love to cook. I cook all kinds of stuff. Tofu, chicken, soup, sausage, Asian, Mexican, Italian. I love to make things from scratch. 2 examples, I was in a tofu kick, so I made my own from raw soybeans. I was on a chalupa kick, but they're $7 each. What the f, Taco Bell? So I made my own fry bread and toppings, etc. I love to bake Christmas cookies and make little treats. Anyway, all this to explain that I take a lot of pride in making food and I love to feed people. My 2 closest friends, 21 female and 25 female, shit on me every time I make something that isn't chicken tenders basically. Oh, not good friends. I make a chicken gnocchi soup and one tells me that it looks like it has bugs in it. I make a tofu stir fry and the other tells me that it looks like poop from a butt. They know it bothers me and still continue to do it. It's not like I forced them to eat the food. I did make 21 female try tofu one time. Not even the dish posted above, which I'll admit didn't look how I wanted it to, even if it was delicious. And today I woke up to a Facebook post of them publicly mocking me about how my food is only meant for starving orphans. So I told them both to get and now I'm the dramatic one. Am I the a-hole? No, oh my god, of course not. OP, don't even worry about it for a second. Your friends suck. Are your friends just a couple of bullies? The top comment, not the a-hole. Your closest friends don't sound like good friends at all. They don't even really sound like friends at all. And they made a Facebook post mocking your food, saying that it's only meant for starving orphans. Yeah, like this comment says, not the a-hole. Don't make food for them even if they beg. Ditch them, they seem like bullies. Yeah, they really do seem like bullies. Yeah, and this comment, not the a-hole. Your friends eat like and act like children. Time to find new friends. Yeah, how unbelievably immature are they? And when OP very understandably told them to get they make it out like OP's the dramatic one. So what, they can say whatever they want to you? but you're not allowed to get upset about it? OP, your friends suck. Okay, story number 6. Am I the a-hole for eating a whole donut that was brought into work as a reward/birthday party? Okay, so wait a second. Am I the a-hole for eating a whole donut? I'm trying to think if I've ever not eaten a whole donut. I'm pretty sure I've never not eaten a whole donut, because that's what you do with donuts. You eat the whole thing. So this has happened at 2 different places I work in. Someone or the boss brings in donuts, normal sized ones and not cut up, to work as a reward to the workers. I'm sitting in the lunchroom and I took one whole donut and my boss got angry and started cutting them all in half. Another time somebody brought in donuts and different desserts on a plate, and since it was a late afternoon when I started my shift, I assumed that people got what they needed and took one whole donut from the plate. Someone gave me a look in surprise and I feel guilty now. I just felt like if you bring in desserts or food, if you want people to only have a certain amount, cut it up first and not serve a whole donut or a piece of cake on a plate for people to take. It makes me think it's acceptable to take a whole one. Yeah, 'cause it is. Like, what do they expect? Yeah, like this comment says, I believe a donut per person is absolutely acceptable. The top comment, not the a-hole, the normal portion unit for donuts is a donut. Yeah, what is going on? And like OP said, if they were cut up into pieces because they didn't want people to eat whole donuts, then yeah, OP would have grabbed a piece. But it's not weird to grab a whole donut. What? The second top comment says, not the a-hole. If I come in and see a half cut up donut, I'm not eating the other half. I don't know who touched it or if their hands were clean. It's all or nothing. Yeah, that's a good point too. The comment under that says, not the a-hole who brings in donuts and expects people to know that they're supposed to cut them in half? That's bizarre. And that person's username is Donut Smell. Yeah, this comment, you're not the a-hole. If somebody is hell-bent on minimizing portions that people take, they should be bringing in mini donuts or donut holes. Yeah, for sure. Donuts don't really hold up well if you cut them into pieces. Like a cinnamon donut or something would, but a glazed donut or like a filled donut, you don't want to be cutting that up. You're gonna make a mess of it. Yeah, like this comment says, 1 donut is 1 serving. If somebody only wants half a donut, they can cut it in half, but that's not a standard. Yeah, and it's disrespectful to the donut. Like, don't go cutting up the beautiful donut. Treat it with the love and respect that it deserves. Okay, story number 7, and I'm sorry that the cats aren't in the basket. That new cat tree that I told you about is unbelievable. I've never seen the cat so happy. They don't get out of it. I think I'm gonna have to figure out a way to put it behind me, because they just don't want to go in this basket. So yeah, for today's episode, Patrick can go in the basket. Beautiful. Am I the a-hole for asking my friend's boyfriend to pay $150 after he had an accident on my couch? Oh, what sort of accident? Are we talking pee-pee or poo-poo or vomit? On Halloween, my boyfriend and I went out to a bar with friends, including my friend Jake and his boyfriend Dylan. We were all drunk and we went back to my place at 1 a.m. to hang out since everybody's cars were there for the pre-game. At some point, Dylan fell asleep on the couch. While we were talking, another friend suddenly told us that Dylan was having an accident on himself. Okay, so I'm assuming it was a pee accident, but it was too late and it was soaked into my couch cushion. Yeah, definitely. Jake didn't do anything, so another friend carried Dylan to the bathroom. My boyfriend had already gone to bed. When we came back, Dylan was gone. Somehow, while we were grabbing towels, he'd gotten into our bed, still in his accident-soaked clothes, and laid down next to my sleeping boyfriend. He got accident all over the bed. No. We found him a few minutes later, woke my boyfriend up, and another friend moved Dylan back to the couch. Except he laid on the other side this time and got accident there too, as well as on the blanket that he used. I love how OP's saying got accident. I told my boyfriend not to make a big scene because I figured that Jake and Dylan would already be embarrassed. We threw our bedding in the wash and ended up sleeping on the floor. Jake and Dylan stayed the night and left around 8 a.m. without cleaning anything or offering to help or apologizing. So he got accident on everything and doesn't even clean anything up. When we woke up around 10 a.m, the smell was horrible. Oh God, okay. Is it pee or is it doo-doo? No, surely not. We texted and called them, no answer for hours. I finally bought a carpet and upholstery cleaner for $150 and I started cleaning the couch and mattress and blankets. I texted Jake, so I adore you and Dylan, but our couch smells like accident, so we have to clean it. It's gonna be $150. I'm gonna request Dylan pay for it. My boyfriend told Dylan that he should cover the cost, and when they eventually answered at 2 p.m, he said to request it from Jake on Venmo. 8 hours later at 10 p.m. that night, Jake replied to my text from that morning, "Hey, I don't know if it's fair for Dylan to pay $150. If he gives you half, would that be cool? We could have used our own carpet cleaner." But you didn't, did ya? You didn't even clean it up. They never offered to bring one earlier, and by then I was long done cleaning. Yeah, the audacity. They didn't even offer to clean. I calmly explained that the expense wasn't optional. We had to clean their mess and that $150 was cheaper than professional cleaning or replacing the cushions. Jake responded, "Whatever, dude, if that's how y'all feel, take your money." What do you mean if that's how y'all feel? Anybody would feel the same. And then Venmo'd me the full $150. I didn't reply. Today he texted me and said, "I'll bring the sweats that you let us borrow so that we don't have to pay for those as well. I'll leave them on your porch." The absolute audacity to make this accident on their bed, on their couch, and whatever else, not even offer to clean it up, and then you have the audacity to give them attitude. Bro. We've been friends for almost 10 years, and I'm shocked by how petty and disrespectful he's been about this. Yeah. Am I the a-hole for asking for reimbursement? No. The top comment says, "My couch smells like accident. Is killing me. Are we talking piss or And OP said, "Pee, thank God." Right, okay, so it was pee? The second top comment says, "Human urine smell is really hard to eradicate. You might need a new couch, honestly. Your friends are gross, not the a-hole." And the one under that says, "Not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole." If Jake wants to get pissy about the repercussions, I'd go no contact. Life is too short to have friends. Yeah, this guy pees all over your house and then gives OP attitude because they want some money. That is unbelievable. Oh, the audacity of this is out of control though. They didn't even clean it themselves. You pee all over their couch, you don't clean it up, and then you get all sooky and give them attitude about it because they want reimbursement. Like, talk about not taking any responsibility. Wow. Yeah, not the a-hole to you, OP. Story number 8. Am I the a-hole for refusing to care for my sister's kid during surgery? My sister, 34 female, has a kid 6 male who's always been rude to me, 36 female. He has called me names because I'm overweight, and whenever he's been at mine, he's just made a mess and screamed. He left the fridge door open and threw food on the floor once. He just seems to have some kind of behavioural issue. I told my sister that I don't want to look after him again because I can't control him. I'm not a parent and I just don't know what the right tactics are. She was okay with it and she has other friends who can take care of him. Thing is, she's now about to go into hospital for a surgery which will have her out for a few days, and she's telling me that there's nobody who can look after my nephew for that time. Now, I don't know what to do because while of course I would take vacation time for family, but I don't have much left. And to be honest, I don't want to be spending it dealing with a kid who just won't give me any respect. I told my sister that I'm not happy to do it and said that I'd be okay to pay for a babysitter, but she called me a selfish cow? What? Others in the family have since texted with various stances, asking me to please reconsider or asking why I'm being like this, as if I'm meant to magically figure out how to stop him destroying my house, or just put up with it. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to deal with it even though it's to help my sister with a medical issue? No, you're not the a-hole. The top comment, not the a-hole, if she called you a cow, I can see where her son's bad treatment of you comes from. Yeah, that retort alone solidifies my opinion that caring for her child should remain her problem. 100%. The second top comment says, "Info, why can't any of the relatives pestering you step up to help family? Is it because they know the kid misbehaves? Also, since she called you a cow, absolutely do not watch the kid. Tells you a lot about why he misbehaves and calls you names. Yeah, if your sister calls you again, I'd just go, moo, and hang up." Not the a-hole. The comment below that says, "Not the a-hole. I was leaning towards no a-holes up until the point where she called you a selfish cow. Don't even spend another second feeling bad about not watching her kid. You offered to pay for a babysitter, which was more than generous, and she essentially spat on your offer. Now it's up to her to deal with her unruly offspring. She's not entitled to your time or your paid time off, or even your money." Story number 9. Am I the a-hole for snapping and asking our server, would you like us to order less? So, for context, I'm 34 weeks pregnant. After work today, I met up with a friend and my husband at Raw Bar for oysters and beer. I can't have either of those things right now, but I was happy just to be out. I walked in a few minutes after them, just as they were being greeted by the server. When I walked up, she looked at me and said, "I see you waddling up. You can't eat here." I laughed it off. I assumed that it was an off-color joke. I told her I was happy just to hang out. After ordering drinks, my husband started talking with her about the oyster selection. I introduced my husband to oysters a few years ago. When I'm not pregnant, going out for oysters and beers is one of our things. I normally order the oysters as he doesn't know much about the different types and how the flavor changes by region. It's not a big deal, it's just something that I know more about. He normally chooses our beers because that's something that he knows more about. So after the server told us about the different choices, I started discussing them with my husband and telling him which ones that I thought he'd like. Our friend ordered other Raw Bar items but didn't want oysters. The server seemed annoyed by this and made a comment about how I was being bossy. I ignored her. I ordered the oysters for my husband, and I made no other comments on anything else that was ordered for the table. After the first round of food, my husband wanted more oysters. So he called the server back over and he asked me to tell her which oysters he liked so that he could get more. This is where things went south. At his request, I ordered for him. The server, looking very annoyed, said that I was pushing him around and then said, "I hope you come back when you're not pregnant so I can get to know the real you." Oh my god. I snapped and I asked pointedly, "Would you like us to order less?" She got quiet and she walked away, and a new server helped us for the rest of our night. Now, I do think she was out of line, but pregnancy hormones are real, and I do worry that I should have just seen it as harmless clowning and not snapped at her. Our friend says that I was in the right. My husband says that it wasn't worth engaging in. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? No, you are so not the a-hole. The top comment says, "Not the a-hole. What she said was impolite and unprofessional. She should have just done her job instead of making unwanted comments." Yeah. And the comment below that says, "She looked at me and said, 'I see you waddling up. You can't eat here.'" She was already out of line right there. And making comments about you being bossy or pushing your husband around was completely out of line. I've never heard a single server making such a comment to anybody. It warrants calling the manager over. You are totally not the a-hole. And the one below that says, "Not the a-hole." She did seem out of line. I think your level of engagement was appropriate, if not maybe too polite given the level of service. Yeah, you were very polite, OP. This comment says, "You came in after your husband." To me, it reads like she was trying to make a play for him, and she was extremely rude and inconvenienced by your presence. First commenting on your walk, and then trying to say not once but twice that you're overbearing. Not the a-hole. Yeah, you're so not the a-hole. Okay, story number 10. Am I the a-hole for taking everything back after getting fired? Maybe I'm being petty or not, but yo, let me know. I worked in my office for about a year or so. Last week on Thursday, I was told that I'm being fired. No explanation or anything. They still wanted me to do the Halloween event and paperwork for the office. I had no problem since the job is rotational, but my supervisor said, "You're done this week or next week. I don't know, but you still have to finish everything." I was shocked and stunned. I liked my replacement before I knew that she was taking over. So I felt weird and pissed and sad, but I tried to be positive until she asked why a specific binder was in my car. I told her that I built it with my own personal items. Of course, I have it in my car. It has nothing about the company. It's just for me to better organize when planning events. She told me, "That's not the right answer." What? I said, "Okay." I walked away and then I came back a few hours later and I packed everything that I paid for and made, leaving the company with nothing. I ran the office by myself for 6 months, so most of everything there is mine and I paid for it. She's pissed because now she has nothing to help her make her job easier. So am I the a-hole for taking everything back? Yeah, like the top comment says, "You still have to finish everything." No, I certainly do not have to. Yeah, what? This comment says, "Not the a-hole. That's not the right answer." Well, neither was firing me, but here we are. This comment says, "I got fired once and I took every single thing that I'd brought in home. The mini fridge that we kept our milk in, the coffee machine, the coffee filters, laminator sheets. Plus I shredded all of my procedure notes that I put together in my own time to help be more efficient. My friend still worked there and said the next day all hell broke loose. They weren't happy." And the response says, "As you should have. They don't get to enjoy the perks of your personal stuff when you're not there." Yeah, definitely a not the a-hole consensus. Okay, story number 11. Would I be the a-hole for getting a hotel room for my spouse and I, instead of sleeping on an air mattress while visiting family for the holidays? My husband and I are flying out of state to visit family for the holidays. Their one guest room will be already taken by other visiting family members. They have a very small office that they want us to stay in on an air mattress, so a small room without much space for our luggage, sleeping on an air mattress, and would have to share a hallway bathroom with the family members who are in the guest bedroom. My husband and I are only in our late 30s, but we're not a fan of the sleeping situation and would much prefer to stay in a nearby hotel. The family members that we're visiting expressed that they would prefer us to sleep at their home on the air mattress so that they can spend more time with us. I, of course, want to spend more time with them too, and I feel guilty about it, but would be so much more comfortable in an actual bed in a hotel. Would I be the a-hole for refusing the air mattress? Or should husband and I just suck it up and sleep on the air mattress since it's the holidays? What would you do? Or what have you done in a similar situation? The top comment says, my back gets so wrecked on an air mattress. With how much a desk job already ruins my back, and I wouldn't spend my meager paid time off making it worse. The second top comment says, be comfortable. I personally like being able to hide from people. Oh, forgot my meds at the hotel, gotta take them at 9 p.m. Breakfast at 8 a.m. Oh no, don't put yourself out. We'll get something on our way over. Arrive at 11 a.m. Not the a-hole. The one below that says you would not be the a-hole, get the room, go to their place for breakfast. It's lovely that they want to see you a lot, but wanting some privacy and a sensible bed is a reasonable request, even during the holidays. And the comment below that says, I wouldn't stay at a relative's house if I had any other viable alternative. I know a lot of families don't feel that way, but it makes perfect sense to me. Even putting aside the uncomfortable mattress and being in the way in someone's office, I want to be able to get away from them for at least part of the day. Not the a-hole. Yeah, very much a not the a-hole consensus. Story number 12. My sister accused me of punishing her kids and letting them go hungry because I told her if someone like me can cook for my family, so can she. Am I the a-hole? My sister grew up in a traditional household where men and boys did manual labor and women did the cooking and the cleaning and taking care of the babies. So I, 24 male, was never taught to cook or clean or do anything womanly. It meant that I never even used a microwave or made my own sandwich before I moved out of my parents' house. It also meant that my sister, 28 female, never learnt how to do anything other than cook or clean or raise babies. And she was encouraged to marry young and skip college and be a trad wife. I used to be punished for trying to enter the kitchen, and my sister would be if she did boy stuff with me. My sister followed the path our parents set out for her. I have gone totally no contact with them, and my sister is my only biological family contact that I have. We're not like super close, but I love her and I always hoped that she'd eventually get away from the upbringing that we had. For a while now, I have suspected that my sister got at least a part-time job to help provide for her family, because she has been busier lately, and that was after months of her talking about the financial struggles that her family had. She would never admit to working because that's a man's thing, per our upbringing. But I suspect it. If I'm right, this has made her more prickly and mean and judgmental. If I'm wrong, then she's just more judgmental and stuff anyway. This has become apparent when we talk. See, I'm married and my wife and I have one child together, but we both work, we take turns cooking and cleaning and stuff, and I reduced my hours for a while to be home more with our child when my wife went back to work, so that we saved on childcare expenses. My sister can't believe I do this stuff. And more than once when it came to me cooking, she has said that she can't believe someone like me is cooking for my family. To her, it's like the worst thing that she could even imagine, because a man cooking is just a big no-no. Even professional chefs get crap said about them by her. Wow. Which is what our parents and all their like-minded friends did. Oh, that's sad. A couple of weeks ago, my sister asked me to send over some cooked meals for her family. She wants you to cook for her now, because she didn't have the time to make anything worthwhile or good. I asked her why she'd want me of all people to send her food. Yeah. She said that she's seen the stuff that I make and she wants that for her kids. That she still can't believe that someone like me is cooking that. But since I do, I could help her out. I told her I wasn't sending her the food, and that if somebody like me can cook like that, then a stay-at-home mum like her should be totally capable of doing it. Which is when she turned around and accused me of punishing her kids by letting them go hungry because they can't eat like that because of time constraints. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole. This comment says not the a-hole. If a man cooking is just a big no to your sister, then by her own logic she she shouldn't even be asking you for food. Why isn't she asking your mother for food? Since, men shouldn't be cooking at all. And she still can't believe somebody like me's cooking. Yeah, how ridiculous. OP said, I have wondered that, but I would guess that she's trying to hide the fact that she's working. Assuming that she is, but that's my best guess for her being busy. This comment says, not the a-hole. Man, did your parents really do a number on her? Yikes. Good for you, OP, for unlearning that misogynistic traditionalist crap. Yeah. Your sister unfortunately needs a reality check. I feel bad for her kids. Yeah, it is misogynistic traditionalist crap. Like, what a load of nonsense. Yeah, not the a-hole to OP, that's definitely the consensus, and that's enough for today. Let's read something wholesome. How I look at the flight attendant during snack time so they know that I'm awake and would like a cookie. That's so cute. Hello, I'm here, I'm paying attention, and I would very much like a cookie. That's so cute and very relatable. Thank you for watching today's episode, everybody. I hope you had a great time. If you did, make sure you let me know down below in the comments. And the comment of the day goes to Sunny Mobley. The yole is in the basket. That's so funny. I keep finding random trinkets to put in the basket, as you can see. I feel bad that the cats haven't been in the last 2 episodes. I'm gonna have to figure something out so that I can have them in the episodes. The only problem is though, if I have them behind me, they'll be all blurry because of the camera, which is why I got the basket that's really close. But if they're not gonna use the basket, there's not much I can do about it. I'll try and find a solution. Thank you for the support, everybody. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!